cream filling. Now that's the stuff. Hostess.
All right, everybody, welcome to Lunch Therapy. So good to see you all. It is Friday, Interview Friday. It is the time that we bring on a great guest. Today we have Tuesday Thomas, fantastic, hilarious comedian and producer of comedic events and films. So buckle up. We're going to have a good time here. This is called Lunch Therapy. For those of you who may have never seen Lunch Therapy happens every Tuesday and Friday at noon. It is a comedy variety show with animals and breathing. So come on in. Welcome to Lunch Therapy. I'm gonna get myself a modem. I'm gonna get myself a modem. Friday at noon. Okay, so first a few announcements. For Saturday night, Richard Gaddis is singing at Saint and Sinner Bar. That's saintandsinnerbar.com this Saturday night, January 13th. Doors at 6:30, 7:30 show. There's going to be a bunch of us there. He's singing the old standards. I see Jose Salas is here. Happy Comoinda Friday. He's from Australia today. Brilliant Twinkies commercial. Yes, I wanted to bring that on because there's a little opossum theme today. Possums. Some people say possums, other people say opossums. Maybe Jenny Sykes, maybe you have some experience with possums. I know you're an animal lover. Holy Claster fan. Howard Ronan, yes. Great to see both of you here. Yeah. So Saint and Sinner Bar, maybe you guys will come and join us. It's going to be super fun. Richard's singing a bunch of new songs, old songs, made new again. And there's food, and it's just going to be a blast. So come on down. Other announcement today is Just Jay Patterson is on The Trust. She's over there on the left-hand side there. Maybe it's your right-hand side. Just Jay is in the show The Trust, and we're going to have a viewing party tonight, 6:45 online. I'm going to come on live. I'm going to try and help people get on this thing called the Teleparty, which is we can watch it on Google Chrome, and we can chat along with it. We can talk about all the crazy stuff that's going on. Apparently, Just Jay Patterson was named, we're only like 12 days into January, but she was already named possible villain of 2024, and which we all know she's not a villain. So, we're finding out these reality shows, the way they edit them, they can make you into a villain or a saint or a sinner. Who knows? Happy Friday. My friend had a possum. I knew it. I knew Jenny Sykes' friend had a possum. I was sure something like that happened. Hoy, Pam Palmieri. Pam's up-and-coming comedian. There's Just Jay. Hoity from icy, snowy Topeka. She's coming out here to Los Angeles soon to promote the show, The Trust. And hopefully she'll be in the chat room there for the chat teleparty. It's an experiment. We're trying different things here. Hoy, Jose. Yes, let's get into this thing. So first thing I want to say before we move on, first of all, I want to post the show on Facebook because it seems like Facebook is having a problem this morning for us, but we will not be stopped. So watch party. This is what you do. You get your Chrome browser and you go to this link that's in the show notes today, and you click on it and you install Teleparty. That's what we're going to do. We're going to install this thing called Teleparty. You go up to the button there in the upper right-hand corner. You install it, and then we can chat and watch the show. So that'll be super fun. I like Jay as a villain for a hot second. Yeah, it could be fun. Where's Jay filming this? She was in the Dominican Republic filming this. And that was a while ago, so you know how these things go. And we've been keeping it under our hat that she was in the show, but now it's public information, and she's all over the internet. Are you in LA filming the show, Jay? Jay, no, she's going to be here doing press, I think is what's happening. Pam Palmieri, the trust is nothing but LOL. Have you seen it, Pam? Have you seen it yet? Just Jay, Dominican Republic. So there, it's confirmed. She's a celebrity now. She's a huge celebrity. Hoy, equal means equal. Speaking of celebrities, let's get into this thing. Let's breathe. All right, hopefully everybody understands what's happening now. At 6:45, we're going to have a viewing party for the trust. And I'm going to come on. I'm going to help people. I'm going to explain. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Yeah, she'll be in LA for promo stuff. Today, we have Tuesday Thomas, which I've been waiting to have her on the show for so long. And she is just, I saw her with Ginny Sykes at Comedy Church, is what she calls it. It's a show on Adams in Los Angeles, and it's also televised. We're going to ask her a little bit about that, but it was a hilarious show with a lot of hilarious comedians doing pretty good amount of time. I think they were doing about 12 minutes each. It was super fun. All right, everybody, 6:45, I'm going to see you to watch that. Let's do some breathing. I'm all hyped up. There's so much good stuff happening. Let's go in through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. Yeah, I was worried that people would be like, Tuesday Thomas, is that Tuesday or is it Friday? In through the nose, out through the toes. Let it go. That must be confusing for her too, to be named after the day of a week. In through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it. Let it go. It's kind of fun breathing with the orcas today. Some people call them killer whales. I call them orcas. You know, they're dolphins. They're not even whales at all. So why do we call them killer whales? I don't know, but they are kind of killer. Here we go. We're going to do one more cool thing. I found this guy, Matt Kessel. He's brand new to the show, but he has allowed us to play this musical interlude that he did. So let's check this out. Matt Kessel. I think that you're going to like this guy. So go ahead and shake it out. Get ready for the interview with a little Matt Kessel. It's almost a dance party. We're going to have a dance party, though. Go over to Matt Kessel's YouTube channel, subscribe. Super talented musician and unusual as hell, which we like that on this show. All right, let's get into this thing. Okay, now we're going to have Tuesday Thomas on the show. She has been a comedian here in Los Angeles. She's a veteran comedian, but she's also been all over the country doing her comedy. She is known as the Punk Rock Cher. She has a unique blend of intense anxieties and quirky humor, is the way she's described. She's like a nomadic rebel hopping across the U.S. while battling severe anxiety, PTSD, and agoraphobia. Yeah. But she produces all these shows around Los Angeles. One of them is Comedy Church, which is what I have seen. She's been seen on television. She's also works with the Groundlings here in Los Angeles. A lot of people know that. She's been the opening comedian for people like Tig Notaro, Bobcat Goldthwait, probably tons of other people. I have seen Adam Barnhart in her shows. She has this show called Freak Show, which is the most popular live show in Los Angeles. And it is a show that is a variety show with all kinds of interesting acts, including people like Adam Barnhart, famous comedian that we know and love here on the show. Also sword swallowers and people who do all kinds of circus acts, and it's just a really exciting show. We're going to talk to her about that. I've never been, but I would like to go sometime. She also co-produces this with Cyrus Naderpour, and it has been going on. It also goes out to different cities, apparently. So she's also been on the reality show Botched, VH1 Walk of Shame Shuttle, MTV True Life, on the BBC. She's been on the BBC, The World of Weird. There's kind of a world of weird in this show, so she's going to fit right in. Let's get into this thing called Interview Friday.
It's amazing to watch a friend truly blossomed into what they're supposed to be.
I'm Tuesday Thomas, and I'm an actress and a comedian.
Come on, bitch! Look at me! Does it look like I haven't tried everything in life already?
I'm 60 years old, but my pussy's only 40. I'll save you some math. I'm trans. I've never really gone out in the world as trans. I come from a different generation. What we did back then was we tried to achieve to be stealth. And I was, well, stealthish.
That's always been something that I've always looked up to, is her level of integrity. And she's got integrity in what she does. She has integrity in who she is.
She has had to face a lot.
Because it's desperate back then. It was like we needed to look good. We needed to pass. People were taking advantage of us left and right.
Nobody wants to go through a bad marriage. Nobody wants to go through a questioning of your identity. Nobody wants to come home and see the look on people's faces when you are finally who you want to be, and they don't want to accept that. But she's done it, and she's still doing it, and I'm so proud of her. I'm so glad she's my friend.
I'd like to thank my producer, my director, and all of you little people.
I'm not sure what this documentary is about, but I think it would be very hard to capture all of Tuesday in a documentary.
Excuse me for a moment while I sort it out. As you can see, it's a bit of a mess.
Faggot!
The highlights and the triumphs, the splendid glories, got tossed in and mixed up with the rest. And I hope I find what
Tranny!
it is I'm after before it's all stained and streaked. I won't drag my feet. Some of the bags starting to leak. It's in here somewhere. I know it's there. I can tell.
Welcome to Lunch Therapy Tuesday, Thomas.
Hey, how are you? This is like, I don't know. I mean, this has been, I love your intros. I love everything about it. I mean,
Thanks.
I often say that to most of my dates. Where's the cream filling?
Yeah, I thought with the possum in that commercial that would go right along with your trailer there. When is your this movie screening that we just showed the trailer for?
We're having a screening on February 2nd.
Oh, exciting.
At 8 p.m. at the Morgan Wixon Theater.
Oh, so exciting. And what is this? Is this a documentary about your life?
Yeah. There's, here's the thing. There's not many people my age. Well, there's a lot of people my age. There might be a lot of people my age that are trans, but there were not a lot of people my age that transitioned when they were 20 or so, because back when I started, the median age of survival for a trans person was only 35.
Yeah, really? That's how long they lived?
That's how long it was. Yeah. When I started, it was like, you got a good 10, 15 years. That's it. Because society didn't want you. Doctors, you'd come in for appendicitis and they'd be like, I don't know what you are. You're an it. I can't treat you. People were dying of AIDS. They were dying of violence. They were dying of just flus because, all kinds of things. And bad hormones, bad surgical procedures, all kinds of things. So it's true. Now, the life expectancy is much longer. Mm-hmm. But when I started, you were lucky if you lived past 30, 35.
Oh, my God.
And I'm a fucking miracle because I'm 61 now.
Yeah, and you have an Instagram, a TikTok that is, what is that? What is your TikTok handle?
Tranma. Ask Tranma.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I want to get back to the kids and, to people who want to know what it was like back then and give any advice that I can. Because it's a different world. Back then it was like, I didn't have a trail. I didn't have anywhere to go. There was no internet.
Yeah.
You couldn't Google, how do I get hormones? No, you had to, I remember I had to drive, 3 hours to this quack doctor and spend, at the time, $25, which was a lot of money.
Yeah.
For one shot a month that I didn't really even know if it was a hormone shot or not. I had to take my chances. And of course, where are you going to get the money from?
Yeah.
Because if you found out you were trans, they would. Here's the weird thing. It was always strange to me. It's like, if you had a regular job, quote unquote regular, and they found out that you were trans, all of a sudden you were a liar. You had fooled them. So you couldn't be trusted with anything. They wouldn't, they're like, how can I trust you at my cash register? You're a liar. And I'm like, well, I didn't lie. I just.
So do you think that's where,
which is none of your business. So.
Do you think that's where some of the hostility comes from? Is that people feel like they're being tricked or something like that? Is that?
Oh yeah, it's a weird patriarchal thing. It's a weird thing because if we could just instill in our young men, in my opinion, that it doesn't matter if you're gay. That's what it comes down to. It's like they don't want to be known as gay. So if they date a trans woman or are sleeping or fall in love with a trans woman, they're worried their friends will figure it out and they will be labeled as gay. And people are it's the only thing you can be in life where people immediately, upon telling them, look down at your crotch.
Right. They think that they also have I've just learned this from watching your comedy. They think they have this, they're entitled to knowing about your nude body, about your body.
Yeah.
You for some reason.
You meet him like, hey, look, how big is your dick? No, you don't do that.
Right.
But a trans person, you're automatically, where are you at in this process here now? I got to know what's in the Constitution to let me know what's going on. I'm like, you know what? You're just a freak. It's not, it's so bizarre that's what it boils down to is the fascination with genitalia. Yeah. And the whole, like, you're lying to me, like, yeah, that's where TERFs come in too. TERFs are like, I'm lying. TERFs are like, you're not a real woman. You lied to me, But it's like, exactly, I got the shit beat out of me by kids when I was 12 and 13 for being weird. And then I grew up and decided to like not be able to get a job, and whatever money I scraped together, I was going to get surgeries and try to buy hormones and go through years of electrolysis and go through this and go through all that stuff to appear feminine just so I could infiltrate you at the
Just
Woman
to
with a
fool
Y
you.
festival,
Yeah.
and one day stick my face into your sweaty, dirty mop, Yeah, that's why I did this.
Yeah, it's all about you. It's all about making you upset and uncomfortable. Yeah, it's so ridiculous. So ridiculous. Have you been performing since you were at a young age?
Well, I did drag shows kind of when I was young, but I didn't really kind of like enjoy that too much. I mean, I did, but you got to a point where like if you were back then, it wasn't like RuPaul's Drag Race now where they're allowing trans women, like Sasha Colby and that. Back then, it was like you got to a certain point, they're like, no, you can't do it anymore. It's like, and once you had the surgery, they were like, you're out. And it's like, well, I just had genital surgery. I didn't have like performance enhancement surgery. It's not like I can lip sync any better,
Oh. I thought it was all about the performance, but I guess, wow, it's so tricky, so tricky. So when did you start doing comedy? When did you start doing comedy?
I started comedy about 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I was in San Francisco, and I've been here 10 years in LA. And for a while I would, before that, I had times where I'd get back into entertainment and I'd be like hosting burlesque shows or something like that, But I tried to do that whole white picket fence type thing, and it's like, no.
Oh, so you tried to settle down and just have
I was married for a while, yeah. I was married for, yeah.
And what drew you back to the stage?
Just because I wanted to be me. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read. Somebody just said something about they were confused about the drag thing.
Let's see. It's very confusing what you were talking about drag. Oh, about how they wouldn't let you do it once you had some surgery.
Yeah, they wouldn't. There were the only pageant at the time, like which was how you moved up and you made more money, was at the time was a Miss Continental USA, which was for trans women. But all the other ones were all you had to be drag queens and stuff. So you couldn't. I mean, they were like not for trans people, and even the local drag queens would just be like, nah. They were, a lot of them turned against you too once you decided you were trans, because that was a lot of gay people, a lot of gay men. Once they found out, like when they thought I was a straight girl, they liked me, but when they realized I was trans, I was disgusting pig. I went through that. I
saw that on your in one of your stand-up routines where you're talking about that. And it's so, it's one of the things that's great about comedy is it gives you a point of view that you don't have. You know what I mean? Like and I think that's what's great about and then all of a sudden we identify with people when we didn't maybe identify with them before. And so,
I always say we all have issues. We all have trauma. And one thing that bothers me is when somebody hears my stories and they say to me, oh my God, I thought I had problems. Yours are much worse. No, yours are bad because they are bad to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't like this comparison, like to diminish your own issues because you think somebody else had it worse. I think it's the way to do it is like that person got through it. Like I want people to look, I want to tell my stories and stuff and have a little bit of humor and be like, wow, she got through that. Maybe I can get through mine. Yay.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think sometimes we set examples as performers of overcoming our own obstacles and other people are inspired by it. And I think that's one of the services that performers provide sometimes,
It's very important.
So I want to hear, why in the video do you have a possum head on? I just want to hear about that. If you have any kind of connection to possums or...
I've always loved possums. I actually have one in my backyard here in LA that has come out. I haven't seen her
I didn't see her last summer, so she might have passed, but she came out for years and years and years, and she would have her babies, and then her babies would go up, and then I would be walking my dog around the neighborhood, and after a while because I looked at them and I could see the marking, so I would see one of their kids and I named them all, like she was Sally, the mother, and then I remember one time I saw one of her sons, Chucky, a few blocks away eating some cat food on somebody's porch. Chucky lived. I love possums because they're so intriguing to me, and they just are so. They're so skittish and they're so mild and they don't hurt anybody, but they look fierce and people are scared of them. And they really do so much good. And I can relate to that. Being scared of you and just wanting to do good. But when the pandemic hit, everybody else was like buying air fryers. I bought that possum head. That was a pandemic buy.
That was a pandemic buy? Yeah, it's great. I love it.
Everybody's like, oh, get an air fryer. And I'm going through the internet and somehow I found this. And I was like, oh, no, fuck the air fryer. I'm getting this.
I want to show you this possum guy that I found on TikTok.
So it occurred to me when I was with my little shy buddy Horace last time that a lot of you guys don't know about possums. So a couple of fun facts for you. Possums only live 3 to 4 years.
They only live 3 to 4
I know. That's so short. 3 to 4 years. They are also immune to a lot of like venomous bites like snakes or spiders or bugs, which is awesome. And they also have such a low body temperature that they are immune to rabies. A lot of people think they have rabies because they look scary, but they're not. They're actually very sweet animals. So if you ever see a possum, just let it do its own thing. All right. It's only got 3 to 4 years. Let's make them good, right? Horace gets it. Yeah. What a good boy.
They're so, apparently they're very clean animals as well. And also one of the weird things is when we have possums in our yard, and when I see one, they play possum.
Yeah, they play dead.
They play dead, so it's really kind of...
Not only do they play dead, they don't just lay there. They do weird things like unhinge they're like...
Yes, oh, I know. I mean, their mouth...
They look like they've been run over by a car by just like unhinging their... And I'm like, ah!
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary when they play dead, because I remember one of the babies... I had let my dog out. My dog had since passed, but I let him out years ago, and it was just starting to get dark, and she was walking across the fence, and the fence is only like, that wide, and she's like a big woman with the baby, and one of the babies fell, and my dog started to chase it, and it ran towards the building, and I grabbed my dog, but right before I grabbed my dog, the little possum played dead, and I started crying. I thought, because I forgot that they
I know. I think that too. Like I see it, I think it's hurt. I think it's hurt. Or, sick.
Bawling my eyes out, and all of a sudden I grabbed my dog and walked away. It was like, I gotta take the dog upstairs and bury this baby possum. As I walked away, all of a sudden it went.
Yeah. So I guess it's a weird defense mechanism to play dead like that, because it seems like you're completely vulnerable. But I guess, I don't know, or something might eat you or something, or bury you. Imagine if you buried the possum and it was just playing dead. It's terrible.
That's why he cremated it, because I don't want to be buried alive.
Okay, so you produce a lot of shows in Los Angeles. The one I went to, a Comedy Church. Can you tell us about that one?
Well, I've had some illnesses, so my shows are all on hiatus. I'm doing shows and doing things, but I'm producing is on hiatus. But the Comedy Church was an offshoot of Freak Show, because Freak Show's a 501c3.
Oh, it is.
The benefits BIPOC.
Let's explain what Freak Show is to people. What is Freak Show?
Freak Show actually we started back up after COVID, but I haven't been able to really get it going. I was in 16 cities. I had a Vegas residency twice a week.
Really?
And,
twice a week?
Twice a week I would go to Vegas. Yeah, it was rough. It was a lot of work.
I bet.
And then between COVID coming and kind of like having to start fresh and then having some health issues, I kind of put that. But that was about 9 years ago I started that. And it was fun.
What made you start? Yeah, you said it started out that you were you had to like get audience, right? Because you were using like seat fillers or something, right? I mean, like you didn't have audience, and then it grew to like one of the most popular shows in Los Angeles. How did that happen? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
I just promoted it. People saw a good product. I didn't do it I did it art for art's sake. I think when you do something and you're true to yourself and it's a good product, people are going to find it. I mean, you've got to put it out there, of course. You've got to promote. But word of mouth will spread and things. It's when you try to, be something you're not. And I brought all the weirdos together because I'm a weirdo. And so I brought all these, but it was all comedy related stuff. We had, burlesque girls that, did burlesque like, the Toxic Avenger or, takeoffs on Austin Powers. I had drag kings and queens. I mean, I had a drag queen that I started out and helped her become a stage performer, and she ended up on Dragula. And she came out one time with 3 tits and this like huge garden hose like penis thing, and I forgot what song she did, but it's it's all kind of, and I would have people who did original and parody songs. I mean, I would just mix everything together along with a circus act of sorts.
Yeah.
And and it just, people were like, I don't know what I'm watching, but I like it.
Yeah, it seems like people got really involved in it and really fun. Do you go around to the regular clubs as well and do comedy?
Yeah, the Freak Show was at all the improvs and the punchlines.
Oh, it was. It was. So you did the Freak Show in comedy clubs as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did it. Like we saw the 600 and some seats at the Oxnard Levity Live, and we would sell that out.
Wow.
And so we were like, we do San Jose Improv, the San Francisco and Sacramento Punchlines, the Irvine Improv, Oxnard Levity Live, Brea. We had the Globe Theater here in downtown LA that we did it there, and we would go to we'd go to Visalia, we'd go to Fresno, we'd put it on in breweries and stuff too. And it was great. It was a lot of fun. I remember being in Fresno once at this brewery we put it on, and afterwards these guys come up to me and they're like, "We're from the mountains. We ain't never seen anything like this before." And when somebody comes up to you and that's the first words out of it, you're like, "Oh, great. My skin's going to be worn as a dress later on. Here we go." But they were like, "We really liked it. The only problem is," and of course, what are you thinking when you hear somebody say the only problem is?
Yeah.
The only problem is we left our nuggets up in the hills because we was coming down to the big city and we thought there'd be police checking our pockets at the door. We left our pot up there. Then Fresno was the big city.
Oh my God.
But then he says to me, he goes, "Do you like LSD?" And I'm like, I don't know, really want one now, but I mean, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I trip. And he goes, "Well, do you want some?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to do it now." He goes, "All right, give me your email address, and when I get home." And I'm like, "Wait, is this a new thing? You can email LSD?"
You can email LSD?
Look at my printer. What am I doing? I don't know how this works. And that was the end of the conversation, so I never figured out what
I think he was probably hallucinating about the email. I have a little sizzle reel here from the Freak Show. I think we should probably show a little bit just so people have an idea of what it is. What do you think?
Yeah. You can play
let's
it.
show
Are you asking me permission, or are you
Yes,
asking me
I'm just asking you permission. Yeah, I guess that's what I'm doing.
What do you think? I'm like,
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right.
When I was 20, I looked like Wonder Woman.
People just look at me and wonder if I'm a woman!
Cocaine and ass eating go together like peanut butter and jelly. It's science. Freak Show is a dark comedic variety show. If it's weird, twisted, and hilarious, it's here. Everyone loves to laugh at the bizarre.
And it doesn't get more bizarre than Freak Show.
What the fuck just happened up there? He's nailing shit into his head, getting money stapled to him. I get a little semen in my eye and I'm screaming, it burns, it burns!
Oh no.
Freak Show isn't just about laughing at the bizarre. It's about pride. Standing up and being seen. Being proud about being whoever or whatever you are. It's about celebrating our differences. Our differences are what makes us unique. And at Freak Show, we celebrate the most uniquest of all. Laughter is something that keeps us together. Let's face it, we're all we got.
Yeah, you like that shit. He's all kinds of moist.
All right. Well, that looks like a fantastic show and somewhat disturbing at times with all the circus acts that are going on in that.
Yeah, the one that had the big chains from his eyes that were actually like these big hooks hooked right there, like right here,
God,
like on your bone. And then he would also do this thing where he had two like curved ice pick type things, you know, that you put in the big blocks of ice and you pull it, and you put one up his nose and it would come out his mouth, and then at the same time one in his mouth that would come out of his nose, so he'd be like this with them.
What is this guy like? What's he like to hang out with?
He actually went to school, was going to go to school to be a doctor because he loved anatomy when he was growing up. So he read all about anatomy. And then once he started, right before he went in to go to medical school, he told his father, he goes, "No, I think I want to be a circus performer." And his father was just supportive, but he had read all his life about anatomy, so he knows everything about anatomy. He just sucked it. He was smart enough to become a doctor.
Wow.
And then so he knows what cavity goes where and blah, 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 you know? And I'm like, okay, you do you.
And how did you assemble people for the show? Because apparently it became very difficult to even get a spot in your show, right? Because it was such a popular show.
It was really difficult. COVID fucked everybody up, but people would recommend, people were sending, I mean, at first I kind of like actively went out and looked, but then you get to a point where people are just sending you things, or you have such a good quality of performers that they're like, oh, here, try this one. Look at this guy's tape, because, you know, I worked with him and stuff. So, yeah.
So you also do improv with the Groundlings.
Sketch comedy and improv. I do the Groundlings, which is, you know, they train you in improv to get you to the sketch comedy, because that's where everybody from SNL has come out of the Groundlings.
Everybody from SNL, yeah,
basically. So
that and Second City, I suppose.
Second City in the early days they did, but Groundlings has been for years and years and years and years and years. You know, they always go there. I mean, they would send people to Second City and UCB, but most of the people, I'd say 99% of the people that hit Saturday Night Live had some form of Groundlings.
And what is the focus on there? I've heard it said that the focus is on character. Is that true?
Yeah, it's not about writing a joke. It's about finding the humor in the fully developed character, like finding your character, finding who you're going to be, and just having a simple conversation that all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this is hilarious. Mm-hmm. It's the normal stuff that you would see people do on the street that, you know, you're just like, where did they come from? You know, who is that person?
And what are the kind of characters that you tend to play? I have a couple of clips here.
Well, I've been probably the clips you have are clips from over COVID where I was like, I mean, I do a lot of different characters, but, you know, I have some fully developed ones and stuff, but it's all about finding the situation and how this weird person would react to the situation. And that's what comedy comes from.
From the reaction to the situation. Maybe that's why they call it a sitcom, a situation comedy.
Yeah,
So you get the characters going.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So where do you see yourself going in the future? Like, do you see yourself developing your own show, or what would you like to do? I know you've been doing a lot.
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, because things morph. Because when I started, I saw myself just doing stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And then that morphed. COVID changed everything for everybody. I mean, I always liked doing characters, but I thought of doing them in, like a freak show type situation, like in a live show. And then now I'm like, I've done parody musicals, and I can't sing worth shit. And they hire me for these parody musicals because I can't sing, and I'm the only one that can pull it off, not being able to sing well. And so I've done parody musicals of Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
think,
And is that live? That's a live musical, right?
Judy saw the Nightmare on Elm Street one. I think she was at one of those that we did.
Yeah, and I think we had a guest on. Maybe it was Aiden Park.
Yeah, he's the one who wrote that. He's a friend of mine. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was doing that as well. So do you feel like you've developed a good community here in Los Angeles, like among people? Like it seems like some of the people that you know are some of the people we know here from the show as well, like Adam Barnhart and Aiden Park. And how important is community to you?
I think community is important. I think being true to yourself is the most important, and then you will find your community. I think a lot of times in LA, and I saw it in San Francisco, is people built communities around who they thought could make it. And I don't necessarily mean that in a social climbing way. There's definitely a lot of social climbers out there. But I think people would make the mistake of like, oh, this person's really funny. I can see them making it, as opposed to just looking and being yourself and actually finding a friend. Because the person who you think is really funny may befriend you, but if they're not singing your praises when you're not around, or they're not throwing you up for an opportunity, or, things like that, they're not really your friend. I sing the praises of my friends, and that's what you should do. I think a lot of times I subscribe to this. Like, I think a lot of times people are afraid of somebody being better than them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like, I don't want to take this person out on tour with me because they may grab the spotlight. And I think that's absolutely insane to think, because I personally would rather be fourth runner-up at Miss America than the winner of the dog show, okay? I want to surround myself with good people who are good to me and fun to be around and stuff. I don't just want to, oh my God, they might get more laughs than me. So what? That only makes you better. That only makes the show better.
I've heard that. I've heard stories too about famous comedians who stopped someone from getting a job because they thought they would look bad because this person was so good. But doesn't it just raise your game to play? It's like when you play tennis, you play against a good tennis player and you're better.
I think
better
so.
for it.
I think so. But there's a lot of people with problem egos that can't handle stuff like that.
Yeah. I noticed you were opening for Bobcat Goldthwait. How did that?
We did it. That was great. Yeah. I mean, it was like a weird situation where you had to get in and out. Same with Tig. Tig was, it's fun. I mean, they, but also a lot of these comics don't necessarily pick their openers. Like somebody, how do I want to say this the right way? Like they do pick them, but they're given like my tapes were sent in, and they're like, I want her, but it wasn't like they take you from room, because sometimes some clubs will be like, we want a local person who can bring people, and so they don't necessarily have a say in it. When they do have a say in it, does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does.
Yeah, so not like a lot of people, that's why you don't see the same people opening and touring anymore with one person.
With one person. They're trying to bring in somebody that's going to put butts in the seat, basically.
And that's not if the club's like you can pick your own opener, then they're like, I like her stuff.
Yeah.
Or they're his stuff or whatever. Or they them stuff.
When do you travel around and do comedy? Do you do that? I mean, have you been doing that or?
I did it for years. I'm not. I would rather concentrate on getting more opportunities locally, as far as not. And I'm not even like I've done the Laugh Factory. I was on the roster for a while.
Mm-hmm.
I've done shows at the Improv. They're fun. They're great. I don't subscribe to the fact that those big clubs as the gatekeepers anymore. It doesn't really work that way. Because most of those shows are based on how many people you can bring.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a few of us that people will just book because they're like, okay, well, I have a spot and I think I've got enough people bringers, so let me put them on. But the talent agents and the casting directors and the people, they don't go out to them. So it's not like there's people who've, been at the Comedy Store for a very long time that are still doing 5 minutes a week because they're a door person or they're, whatever. And it's not like the thing it used to be.
Yeah.
They present themselves that way.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right. Things have changed a lot about how people are seen. And the internet has a lot to do with that, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And do you try, and it seems like that you can showcase yourself without even, you can do these shows at these clubs, but that's not the main entry point anymore.
Being with around the Groundlings and stuff, I'm doing, I've gotten opportunities just from people who are, in the main company there who haven't necessarily seen me live, but they all have access to tapes. And they all will sit there at some point and say, oh, I want to see what the show was like. And they'll watch tape. And then they'll be like, oh, she was funny. Let me get her to do this. Like I'm doing a storytelling show for Risk. Do you know what Risk is?
No, tell me.
Risk is a storytelling show that where you had some kind of risk involved. And it's very high end. It's very New York and LA. Kevin Allison and David Crabb, which are, I can't off the top of my head remember what David or what Kevin has done, but very big names in the entertainment industry. And they run this and they have a well-respected podcast. The shows are really well-respected. And David got to me and was like, oh, I saw you, your tape of you. I want to see if you have a story about, blah, blah, blah. This is our subject. And I sent a story and they were like, great. And they approved it. And I'm doing that on the 16th, So those opportunities come to you if you work hard and you're, again, true to yourself. Don't try to do things that aren't good for you. You have to know what's good for you or not. And the other thing about the stand-up comedy that I have a problem with in LA, and I don't know if other cities are like this, I get asked to be on these shows, and then I'm like, how many people are on it?
Yes.
Because there's shows that have like 12,
I know, it goes on forever.
Yeah. And I'm like, I am not going to be a part of this. I don't care if you put me on first. I'm not gonna, that can't be good because people are going to be tired and it's going to turn them off of comedy.
Right. There's only so much comedy people can take, even if it's good comedy. There's a point where it's just like, come on. And when, when the host is like apologizing, only 3 more comics, for how many comics there are,
to a show
that even they're aware of it.
I was on a show a couple of years ago where I didn't realize how many people were on. And this was before I started asking this question. And I was standing there with the person who hosted the show and booked the show before the show, outside of the place the show was at.
Yeah.
And I was telling him how I had done a show the night before and I would never do that again because there was 14 people on it and it just went on forever and the audience was tired and who the hell books 14 people for a comedy show? And he kept looking at me going, yeah, I know it's wrong. I'd never do that, blah, 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 going back and forth like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, good. I'm thinking, great, this is going to be fun. I get in there, I'm number 13.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I'm like, dude, what happened up front? Are you really delusional or did you just outright lie to me?
Yeah. And, people you never know when you're going to go, just like that. They don't want to tell you when you're going to go because they don't want your friends to show up like halfway through the show. They want people to be there the whole time.
I've always been one where it's like, I don't care. You put me where you think I fit best. Because I've run shows and I know it's kind of like a recipe sometimes. You don't want two people who are similar together, but you don't want two people who are too far apart together.
And some people are really good at doing that, like making the lineup, Yeah,
it's a recipe.
And you want to respect them. You want to respect them because it's also like a real button that you push on a promoter when you go, where am I going? What place am I going? Or if you argue about it. People
I always
don't want
sit
to have
in
you
the crowd
back.
and I'm like, when I hear my name called, I'll get up.
Yeah.
It's my time.
So what do you find when you started doing comedy? Did you study with anybody or did you just find your own voice by doing it?
There was a place called the San Francisco Comedy College, which was it wasn't the best place, but it was great for a newbie. And it was near the Purple Onion in San Francisco, which was famous, and I got to do shows at the Purple Onion. And then I started a show called Estrogen Entree with a Side of Balls, and it was all women. It was one man, a gay guy is an honorary woman, and it started 2 shows, and all of a sudden people loved it. I moved it to the Punchline, which is 200 people. And it took off, and I was monthly there. Wow. Yeah, it was great. It was just like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. It worked out well for me.
We had a question about the enthusiasm about your screening of your show. This is it. 2/2 at 8 p.m. Free tickets. Link in her bio. So if you go to her Instagram
or TikTok, Instagram's Mama Warned Me and TikTok's Trema, there will be a link tree in there, and it'll say free tickets. We only have, to be honest with you, we have 200 capacity, and we are very, very close. So get the tickets if you want to come. I know Ginny is coming. I think I saw her name on that. I hope I saw her name. I'm pretty sure I saw Ginny's name on the list.
All right, so get in there soon. Yeah,
check it. But we're gonna have a red carpet. I've got a photographer taking pictures in front of the Stop and Repeat, with myself or just you if you want. Then we have the screening, and then I have swag bags, and also afterwards we're doing a Q&A.
Cool.
So people can ask questions, and the film is about an hour and 10 minutes long. Terrific. So it's not too bad a night. It's gonna be a fun night.
Sounds like fun. All right. So on that note, we're going to end the conversation, but it's been so great having you on the show. Really appreciate you being here.
Fast.
I know it goes so fast, and we got to have our dance break. So let's do it. Like, I'm going to get us tickets. Anybody, wants to figure out how to get tickets, go to her link tree or hit me up or whatever you want. I'm going. All right. So, do you want to say any kind of tip to young performers out there or old performers or anybody out there that you want to say, like, I just want you to know this?
Just be okay with rejection, because sometimes being told no about a part or a spot in a show has nothing to do with your ability. It has to do with the fact that you might not be the right person for that show. It does not mean you are not good enough for that show. It means you just might not be the right for that. And be true to yourself. Just be yourself, because so many people want to be the next, Dave Chappelle, the next Bill Burr. There's already a Dave Chappelle. There's already Bill Burr. There ain't no fucking Tuesday Thomas but me.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you very much. It's so good to hear that. All right, let's get on with this thing. Dance break time. I got a good one for you. I know you like the band Berlin, I'm guessing. So I've got a Berlin by these people called the Fantastic Plastics, they're just a real fun group. All right, here we go.
This song is called The Metro.
Attention à la marche en descendant du train. Please mind the gap between the train and the platform.
Bitte beachten Sie beim Aussteigen die Lücke zwischen Zug und Bahnsteigkante.
being here. Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll see you next week on Lunch Therapy.